I know.
Luis.
I know. How you doing, man?
Pretty good. How about you? Nice to finally meet you.
Amazing.
I like your background, like all the Avengers
Oh, thank you.
posters.
Yeah, I was
Looking
going to
good.
by the window, but it's really sunny out right now. So that's probably not the best idea.
Yeah,
So
I know. Yeah, it's pretty dark over here, so I would do the window, but it'd be pitch black.
tell from here, you can see because my window's like right over here. So you can just tell like this giant blast of light is just coming in.
Well, bash. Yeah, because it's later in the day for you, right? Because it's like 10:30.
It's 10:30 here.
Gotcha.
So yeah, it gets where I live, it gets pretty bright, like right around 10:30. That's like the peak a little bit, maybe a little later.
Okay.
Towards like 5 or 6 right now, 7, it starts getting dark out. So
Okay.
So yeah, so you wrote a book. That's kind of what I
Yeah.
want to talk to you about. And you have a sequel coming out. Or at least you're working on it. Do you like have a rough estimate when book 2's coming?
As much as I hate to say it, probably another year. I
Okay.
want it to be out a lot faster than that, but it's definitely taken a lot more time. but yeah, I would say probably another year around there. I would say my guesstimate. That's my best guess.
Yeah. So you wrote book 1. Did you have a timetable, or is it similar where it was just I work on it until it's finished?
It was pretty much similar to like I work on until I finish. I did have like the problem is it was my first comic book, so it's like you don't have the right expectations. So you're like, oh, I thought I was gonna get finished in like 3 months, and that did not happen. It took me like 2 years. But yeah, like it was very similar, but it was like a rough. I was okay. I want it to be done within like 2 years.
Okay.
But the specifics, I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get that. So what
Yeah.
the big influence for you to actually write at least book 1 and book 2?
Oh man. Well, the thing about book 1, so I've always loved comic books and I've always loved writing and I've always like wanted to make a book, but the opportunity actually came from Pastor Bob Beeman from
Right.
Sanctuary, who we met, and he liked my art on not Facebook, Instagram, and we like knew each other before that. We would like FaceTime and stuff, but he all of a sudden one day was like, "Hey, like if you can make a comic book based on heavy metal superheroes, we'll publish it for you." And I was like, challenge accepted. So at first I didn't want to do it because I was like, I've never done this before. Like, I don't know what the heck I'm doing. You know what I mean? And then, but then I just like, he just encouraged me to do it. So I did it. And then I fell in love with just writing it. And there's just like creating your own world. Like, it's just, you're like, oh, this is dope. Like, this is so fun. Like, so I just had fun making stuff, and I've always wanted to do it. And I also too, like, I love stories and how they tell deeper truths and how you can like deal with like deeper things through them. And so I was really passionate about kind of conveying the gospel through comic book form while still making a good comic book, so that if you don't believe, you can still read it, but if you do, you're like, oh, this is dope, you know. And so that was kind of the inspiration behind it. And the sequel kind of goes into spoilers, so I'm not going to talk too much about the sequel, but the sequel is very much similar to that, but just expounding on what happened in the first book.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so going with that, so you did this through Sanctuary Matrix International, right? Or Sanctuary
Yes.
Matrix, and then I saw you joined. What was it? Are they called Indie? Is it Indie Alliance?
Yeah, the Indie Comic Alliance, I think I think it's Indie Alliance or Indie Comic Alliance.
So how did that come about? Was that something you had been planning with, and like you did this and then that happened, or was that all like in a similar time frame?
Yeah, I did. So I made the book. I didn't even know that they existed. I don't think they existed at the time that I was making the first one. I think they came out later, and then all of a sudden, all these dudes were like following me on Instagram, and like I got like 3 of them all messaged me like in a group, and they were like, but like all separately, and they were like, "Hey, you should join. Hey, you should join." I was like, "What the heck is this?" So I looked into it, and it's just basically a cool like community of independent comic book creators for like to support each other and to like, you know, help. Like there's a guy named Dell who his comics is called Tier 1 Comics, and he's the like guru on everything like marketing. So he's very good to like, if you go to him and you need help with like Instagram stuff, he'll like help you out. So it's very much like a cool community of people. So it was not planned, but it was definitely a cool opportunity. So I was like, heck yeah, dude.
Was that something you'd wanted to do Was that, or did that just opportunity just come? You just took it.
I mean, so it came, but I also always wanted to be a part of like a community in that sense. Like I really, my dream for the book is to actually build my like a team, like a big team around it, and hopefully make it something that can be like involve more and more people. Because I think that collaboration always is better than just lone wolfing it. You know what I mean? But so I wasn't planning on it, but I always wanted something like that, and so I definitely was really excited to have that opportunity.
Okay, yeah. So if let's say that you didn't get Indie Alliance, would you be interested in, let's say, like, time period, Marvel, DC, boom, IDW, like any of these companies came along, would you take it, or were you more comfortable doing something like this?
Dude, that's a good question, man. See, it's hard because it's like right now I'm not a huge fan of like some of the books that are coming out from those publishers right now. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, yeah.
But like I if if I had like creative freedom over characters and stuff, like if I got to like write and draw, I would probably say yes. If I had freedom to do what I wanted to do, like my dream is to do like an Azrael book because Azrael is my favorite character. So I think it'd be really cool to do that. But like I also really like my own thing. You know, I mean, it's hard because it's like, you know, there is that ego boost where it's like to be able to say like, oh, I worked for Marvel, like that'd be pretty cool. But at the same time, it's like I'm not a fan of what's happening over there right now. I also haven't read a whole lot of new books for a while just because, you know, but
Me
yeah,
neither.
that's a good question.
Yeah. What is Azrael even doing now? I don't remember what last time I saw he was in Detective. That's the last thing I saw him in.
Yeah, well, okay, so last thing I knew of him, he was in Curse of the White Knight, but since that's a different like timeline,
Oh,
it's not like the same Asriel. Like it's kind of just like a spin-off version of him. But
yeah,
yeah, I'm pretty sure the last thing I ever saw was the Detective Comics, but I don't know what they did with them. Like, and I didn't even read that arc, so I don't know
I think he went to
what
space.
what.
Space because he was in because they did Children Justice League teams, and he was with like Cyborg and Starfire, and he had like
Oh,
and they like fought Darkseid and like some other stuff, and there's like a cult of Batman up and out in space, and they like saw him
okay,
an angel, which is really weird because he's wearing like a gold,
okay.
like he's wearing the gold Nightfall suit. Look
Oh, he's got the
down
nightfall.
version of it, but it's like golden red.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
and I don't know what he's doing currently.
Weird. See, I think the Nightfall suit is cool, but I like his original suit better.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? I like
right.
the hood and the flaming sword, all that fun stuff.
Speaking of
Just
White Knight, that costume's really good too. Like the White Knight version they did, I like
yes,
a lot too. So
yeah. I know. I've recently gotten into the McFarlane collectibles, like the Todd McFarlane toys and stuff, and I'm like, man, it's a bad habit because they're so expensive, but I want to buy all of them. But they have the cool White Knight Asriel that I want so bad. Like it's so dope.
my Walmart's awful. There's nothing. So uh, so what's more fun drawing? The comics, and I've seen that you've done album art and like some shirt stuff. What do you think is more fun or more challenging?
Ooh. I mean, I would say the comic book for sure. Like drawing comics is a lot more fun because I definitely like enjoy the story aspect of it more. So it adds more to it, and you get to like do more fun stuff with illustration and like merch stuff, and that's fun too. But it definitely feels more like a job because I mean that is my job. But like the comic book is fun because it's like you get to like, oh, I'm gonna think of a different camera angle. Like I'm gonna make this dude's nostril really close to the camera. Like you know, like all this stuff or whatever. But so they're all fun. Like, and sometimes it is nice to just like when you just have fun. Like when sometimes like I'll have projects where people like have a really cool idea, so you get to just have fun with it and play with that. But I think overall, like the comic book is a lot more fun just because of the story aspect of it, if that makes sense.
Right. So I lost my question. Oh, so you've already talked about like we just had a conversation about Azrael and you like Azrael, and I seen you've drawn like Batman Beyond, like Gunslinger Spawn. Is that like your favorite era of comics? I guess
Uh,
like the '90s,
ooh,
mid.
I don't really know if I have a favorite era, to be honest with you. I think I think aesthetically, the 90s were probably the best because they had the coolest outfits, you know? I mean, sometimes they went overboard, like you get the Rob Liefeld pouch
Oh yeah.
cliche and all that stuff, but I think a lot of the 90s were the coolest looking, you know? And like, I really love, like, speaking of Asriel, I love I think it was called Agent of the Bat. It was either Agent of the Bat or Sword of the Bat, but it was in the 90s. And like, it's when you got his like really cool, like huge fists. Like he had those like the 3-fingered gloves because he like just those giant metal fists and stuff. Like I love that type of stuff. So I would say 90s is my favorite when it comes to aesthetically. I don't love the writing of the 90s though.
Oh yeah.
Just you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So I think my favorite my favorite era when it comes to art is definitely the 90s, I would say. But when it comes to writing, I really like I would say probably the early 2010s. So like Court of Owls type. Although I do like Long Halloween though. Long Halloween's good, and that's a 90s book too, I believe, right?
Yeah, it's like 90s or early 2000s.
Okay. Yeah, so that area. I guess I don't really have a favorite era for writing and stuff, but not 90s for writing.
Right.
I'll say that.
So do you like a lot of these animated or like again like superhero movies? Speaking of Long Halloween, since they just did an adaptation of it.
Yeah. So I love superhero movies. I do like the animated movies. I feel like some of the newer like DC animated movies, I wish the animation was cooler because some of the animation is kind of seems like too stiff for
Yeah.
me. You know, like I do love the Dark Knight Returns animated movie is amazing though. That's a masterpiece. I watched the first part of the Long Halloween the other day. For me, so my thing is like I'm a really picky. I can be a snob sometimes, but I I love Tim Sale's artwork on Long Halloween, and I love the way that he drew Batman. And I kind of hate how all of that was lost in the movie. You know what I mean?
My nitpick of that was it's got this like noir style to it still, but then they're using like holographic computers. I'm like, you're taking it out. Like just keep it in it. It's like if you watch the Batman animated series, it's got this goth noir style thing, and then immediately a cell phone comes out because you got black and white TV.
Yeah.
Also, you have like supercomputers. So like that always bothered. Like that stuff bothers me when they try to set it in a certain time period, but then like they pull out a cell phone. I think that's my one gripe about
Yeah.
like modern Archie comics, where it's like they want to have like the 60s in there, but then they're still using cell phones. Like,
Oh, really?
yeah, like it's set in modern time, but they still have like 60s stuff.
Okay.
Archie has like the jalopy, but it's still current time, and it's really weird.
Yeah.
It,
Yeah, I haven't really. That's interesting. Well, it's like, did you read the Archie versus Predator?
I did not. I read Archie versus Punisher. I didn't read Archie versus Predator.
They have an Archie versus Punisher, dude. Archie's making the rounds, man.
It was weird because it's the Archie style, but then like I think who was it, Ramita? Whoever drawing Punisher at the time drew the Punisher stuff.
Oh, okay.
And then like it's weird, like it's in the Marvel universe. Like so, this Riverdale is in the Marvel universe. So you just get on a train and go to it.
Okay.
It's the weirdest thing. And they do nothing else with it. It's
Dang.
it's the oddest thing ever. But
Weird.
yeah, that's like the strangest thing ever. But going back to your book, I noticed reading it, one of your characters, I think I got his name wrong. I wrote down Vanguard. I don't think that's his name. But later he becomes Death Killer. Is there I just noticed he kind of looks like one of your comic book strip characters, Metal Guy.
Oh.
Is that conscientious, or was that like by your reaction unintentional? Just like kind of looks like him.
I would say it mostly just came out like incidentally. That kind of looks like him. Like, so well, okay. Well, I guess so. The character was made before the Metal Dude guy came along, and so Metal Dude was more of like we came up with Metal Dude after the comic book had been written and after a lot of the aesthetics were set up and stuff. But Metal Dude came along because Bob was like, "Hey, I want like a comic strip to post on like Facebook and stuff," and so he's like, "We should just do a thing called like the Adventures of Metal Dude." So I was like, oh, like I made Vanquisher after I made him to kind of just encapsulate like the classic metal look, like the stereotypical like long black hair, metal jacket type thing or whatever. So I was like, oh, if I'm doing metal dude, but just cartoony, I'm just gonna do something similar to that. So I didn't mean to make it like a copy of it, but since they're both kind of based off the same stereotype, it definitely came out similar.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just speaking of metal, each character in Crimson Six, Speeding Beauty, Cauterizer, like these different characters are all have these different genres of metal. What is your favorite genre out of metal?
Ooh, you're gonna get me shot, dude. Anytime you pick one genre, the other genres get mad.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I don't really have like a favorite. I will say, I mean, so I grew up on like my intro to metal was definitely like the 80s glam metal because that's what my dad loved. So that was my like introduction to it. And then I found Metallica, so thrash metal, and that just changed my life. So I really enjoyed classic thrash. I do, as much as it gets crapped on, I do really like metalcore. I know that like right now, like a lot of people hate metalcore. I enjoy it. I mean, I understand why people don't like it, but I really enjoy it. I think out of all of them, my least favorite's new metal. Like I still enjoy it, but it's not necessarily like my greatest cup of tea, if you know what I mean. But yeah, I would say probably like the thrash is probably like thrash and metalcore are probably like my top two go-tos that I'm like, yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
was really getting into when I first got into it, I was really getting into like metalcore. So like Demon Hunter and then later Devil Wears Prada. So
Yeah.
and then my pastor like Striper. So then I started listening to Striper. I'm like, all right, I'll check them out. And then
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
the classic stuff. My mom listened to Petra, so I had been listening to that.
Oh, yeah.
So like that was always in the back of my mind. So I never thought I'd be like, because it used to be like, oh, this kind of like I don't like this music. But I think when I sat down and actually listened to it, I really got into it. So
Yeah. No, that's how I was with Striper because at first when I heard Striper, I didn't like his voice. And then the more I like sat down and listened to it, I was like, oh, especially their new stuff. Like the new album that came out is
oh yeah.
dope.
Did you
It's
listen
amazing.
to Michael Sweet's spinoff project,
Which one?
Sunbomb?
No, I have not heard that.
It's I think I phrased in my review, it's good, except I feel like there's some weird quality in it where sometimes the vocals can't be heard.
Oh, okay.
It's strange. And I thought it was just like my audio copy because I got it digitally. So I don't know if it just something happened to it, but I pulled it up off their YouTube channel and like other stuff. I guess everyone has the same exact issue. But it's
Interesting.
the same company that does Striper. So
Oh, weird.
I don't know if it's just me. Like I thought it was my earbuds at first. I checked everything. So it's a good album. I like it. It's just sometimes I have to like really listen to it. It's really strange. I don't know,
Okay.
but that's
It's
my
just not
go
mixed.
listen to it. So
Yeah,
good.
that's weird. That's weird. I wonder if that was like a conscious choice then that they were like that they decided they wanted to do that, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't heard anything. Like I don't think they've come out and said anything, but like that's strange. But
Yeah.
again going with music. Do you have like a guilty pleasure that's maybe not metal that you listen to?
Oh man, I got a lot of them. I mean, dude, I'm gonna be honest with you. That song "Rain on Me" by Lady Gaga is a good one. Like, I mean, like I don't really like love that type of music, but that's a pretty good one. Dude, honestly, like Olivia Rodrigo, I would say is probably my guilty pleasure. I like her music for some reason. I don't know why, but that's the one where I wouldn't just be like, I wouldn't tell all these dudes I'm like, yeah, I'm cranking Olivia Rodrigo. You know what I mean? But I would say that's probably my guilty pleasure.
I personally like ska, so
Okay.
on sometimes. Five Iron Frenzy, that's usually the big one I've listened to, but I really haven't branched out into other ska, but
Okay.
one of my big ones. So some people are like, this sucks. I'm like, I don't care.
I don't care, man.
I'm the one driving. It's my radio choice.
Yeah, there you go.
Car. But uh Yeah, so what is your biggest artist influence? Because you've shown you like Greg Capullo and like Ryan Stegman, even learning from them, working on book two. So is there are those your two big influences, or is there any others?
Yeah, so like Greg Capullo for sure. Ryan Stegman, he's not like a huge influence at the moment just because I didn't even know who he was. Just because like I said, I haven't been reading,
Oh yeah,
I haven't read like a new book. So like the only way I found out was I heard people talking about him on Instagram. I was like, who is this guy? And then I was at my comic book shop and they had one of the King in Black floppies. I think it was number 2. And I was
okay,
like, oh, that was cool. I'll just pick that up. And I like was looking at some of his art. I was like, oh, this is dope. And then I was actually the other day I was studying his art because I like the way he draws like beards and facial hair. So I was like, oh, sweet. But he's amazing. I haven't looked at his stuff enough to be like, oh, but Greg Capullo is like my man. Like he's the dude. Like he's a metalhead. He's
oh yeah,
amazing artist. I love Todd McFarlane, Jim Lee, like all the big greats. Sergio Cariello, I really enjoy, especially his older stuff on Azrael that he did.
right,
The stuff he did, like he does like awesome panels that are like 3D panels. So like I don't know how to explain it, but like there's a scene in one of the Azrael books where the panel is set up like a stage off of all the other panels, and so the characters are set up sticking out of it, so it almost looks like a platform. It's really cool. Like the stuff that he did. He's
yeah,
a teacher at the Hubert School, so he's like a legit dude. But I have a whole bunch of them though. I'm trying to think of all at once off the top of my head. I mean, as much as people like hate on Rob Liefeld, I really enjoy how exciting he makes his stuff. Like you have to admit that like his stuff is fun to like look at. You know, like it is cool to be like, oh, sweet. And then I mean, Sean Murphy, the White Knight, he's amazing. There's so many. I'm trying to think of. Oh, Jason Fabok, he's one
yeah.
of the big guys. He's amazing. Like that dude, that dude's amazing. But yeah, I huge list. Like I can't think of all of them on the top of my head. I also really do love looking at like Pixar books and like the art of type books for like movies and concept art and stuff like that. Like that also helps a lot for like inspiration of just like, oh, I'm gonna see what I can do here. You know what I mean?
Right. I think my big one, I remember his name, and he recently got in trouble for something. So
Oh,
I can't remember his name. He was drawing the first 50 issues for Immortal Hulk, and I can't remember his name.
oh, I don't know that guy's name, but I know the art. I've seen some of the pages. He got in trouble. Do you know what he got in trouble for?
Apparently, according to Al Ewing, the writer, apparently he had made a post a couple years ago on something in the art that was like, I think it was anti-Semitic. I don't know. Whatever I looked at, I never saw anything,
Okay.
so I really don't know.
All right.
Well, I mean, he's not on the book anymore, so something happened. And of course, after
Dang.
issues, Al Ewing left, so he was done. So it's I think it's Donny Cates that's doing it now.
Oh, interesting.
So yeah, and the other one, I really like Alex Ross. I remember reading Kingdom of,
Oh yeah.
and like I like it better when he does DC stuff than Marvel stuff, because Marvel he goes more loose, I guess, to more mimic Jack Kirby style, where he had very interesting looking people versus
Yeah.
DC where they're more realistic based off actual people. I do like that he does make it look different when he works on different books.
Yeah.
Uh, who I don't remember his name. Maybe it is Jason Fiebeck. I think that did Moon Knight at the bottom.
Oh, was that David Finch?
It was called. It was a small story called Moon Knight. The end or the bottom. I think it was Jason Fabok.
Yeah, I feel like Moon Knight was either Jason Fabok or it was David Finch because I know David Finch did.
Was because he was
Yeah,
Batman for a bit.
yeah. I love David Finch. My thing with David Finch is so many people go for the David Finch look now, though, that everybody looks like David Finch. Like a lot of like up and coming artists, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah, but oh, also Ryan Otley, he's a big one.
yeah.
Ryan Otley is one of my favorites.
I think he's also doing Hulk. I think he's gonna be drawing Hulk,
Yes, but yeah,
and
but
he.
he's doing like well, so is okay. Actually, I think like everybody's doing Hulk now because I think Ryan Stegman is on Hulk now too. So I think it's Ryan Stegman and Ryan Otley are doing different Hulk books. I think.
Oh, okay. I think so.
Yeah.
Maybe. I dropped off Mortal Hulk after like issue 20 just because like I don't have a comic book store around here, but I have a Books a Million and they stopped doing new issues.
Oh, that sucks.
which is really weird. But it's a
Dang.
thing. Like when COVID hit, they just stopped doing it. It was the strangest thing.
Inter- Dang. Okay. Weird.
It's we had a comic book store and then they closed down. So
Yeah, that sucks, dude. So many comic book shops closed down, especially during COVID. Like, I mean, it's already hard enough to be a comic book shop, and then you add COVID to it, and it's just like it's a bummer, man.
oh yeah, it's weirdest thing. But do you have, like, being an artist yourself, do you have any advice to, other artists?
I mean, I'm still learning, so I don't feel like super. I don't, like qualified. But I would say the things that have helped me learn. I mean, is like obviously like always keep practicing, like every day. I mean, like just like the bare bones stuff that you hear all the time, like like practice all the time, man, like stuff like that. Like, I mean, it's like cliche, but it's true. But I would also say like the thing that has honestly helped me level up the most is making the book. Like, and I feel like if you want to get better, you need to be practicing like the foundations, the fundamentals, but also be like drawing comic book pages, even if they're like just your own stories, just to keep and just to practice on. I think will help you level up the fastest because it will make you draw things that you never thought you would have to draw, and so it makes you like it forces you to get out of your comfort zone more. And then like the more you do that, and like you can find like practice scripts online, and the more you do that, like the more push you'll get. And I think like that will make you improve faster than just going to like quickposes.com and just looking at poses, because the comic pages will make you draw like, oh, I should draw like curtains, or like how the heck do you draw a curtain? And you have to, oh, like I have to draw a dude doing a backflip while kicking another guy in the face, like stuff like that, where it's like I would say definitely like if that's where you're, even if you don't want to be a comic book artist, I do think that still would help level you up just because it gets you out of your comfort zone.
Right,
That's most I would say. I don't feel super qualified.
right. But going back to metal music, do you have like any weird stories of being a metalhead of any kind? Or just like,
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't have like a specific one, but I do have like, I mean, definitely, and I'm sure like a lot of people relate to this, is like just like throughout school, like like metalheads, like when we like see like Metallica and stuff, it's like, oh, like they all wear black, like, oh, I love just like I love black, like stuff like that. And then you go to school and people are like, why do you wear so much black, like stuff like that, and you're like, oh yeah, but just basically people who are like, I don't get it. Like there's a lot of like that type of stuff that would happen like all throughout like high school, where people would like you get called like a goth and like an emo all the time because people like are just like, oh, whatever, like, you know what I mean? But I know my grandma definitely, a funny story is she was over at my house in the living room talking to my sister, and I was in the kitchen making lunch, and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna turn on some As Lay Dying. And so I turned on Parallels by As Lay Dying, and she literally came in and she was genuinely concerned that I was gonna get possessed by a demon. Like, she was like, what are you doing? Wait, turn that stuff off. You're gonna get possessed. It was like stuff like that is definitely the norm.
it's weird because I didn't start listening to metal when I'd been listening to like bits of it, like Demon Hunter, and then really start getting into it in college. So I ended up going to private school in high school.
Oh,
So I vividly remember this. So I think it was seventh grade, eighth grade. I had to take all my classes were mandatory. So I had to take a choir class, and it was weird. I grew up Pentecostal, but went to a Baptist high school. So
okay.
there was this weird disconnect, and they had us talking about Christian contemporary music for some reason. I don't remember what the reason was. I think there was a situation at the school. There was something going on. And they're like, here's these pictures. Name the bands. And I think I could name every single one of them. Like, I don't remember. I think Guns with Crutch was on there, Jars of Clay. Like
Okay.
between the genres, but a lot of them I could name. And then I barely remember we're sitting there. She said, do work, whatever, do something. So I'm like, all right, whatever. And I'm sitting there. I just look up. We make eye contact. And I'm like, great. I'm getting up at the principal's office. And my parents told me, it's like, we don't disagree, or we agree with certain things, we disagree with other things. You're probably not going to get in trouble. Like if they talk to you about your music, we know what you listen to, whatever. Nothing happened.
Yeah.
It happened again my senior year. Same situation. Everything went down the same. It was the strangest thing. But like that's like my weirdest thing I've had happen. It's like
Yeah,
it's like
that's wild, dude. Yeah, like, dude, that's crazy. I can't imagine that. That's weird.
oh yeah, and then it got really weird when we bring up music. Like Nathan, what do you listen to? I was like, okay, let's see. I was like, I just want like the vague answer, like, oh no, I don't, I listen to like a couple different things. I don't know. Like I did vague answer,
Yeah.
like, afraid I was gonna get in trouble. My homeroom teacher was pretty chill. Like if I brought it up, he'd probably just look at me, but like I don't think he would do anything. I don't know, but he's not at the school anymore. But I wouldn't know what he'd do. But yeah, that's so you've brought up that you've been sharing books that inspire you. Is there any recent books that have been like really inspiring you lately?
Ooh, uh, like fiction or nonfiction or just books in general?
Either one.
Uh, I'm trying to, man, I haven't, man, that's a good question, man. I would say one book that I really, uh, love is called Seculosity, and it's basically about like how we put our hope in everything but the things that we should. So like basically talk about how we all find like our identity in like politics or like parenting rather than understanding that like what Jesus has done for us. So like that's really good because it helps you see like, oh man, I put my hope in like the stupidest things, like, and not just hope but like my like your worth, like, oh, like, like I'm cool today because I voted for the right person or whatever, like stuff like that. And it definitely is a book that kind of like wakes you up out of that, but also like brings you so much freedom to realize you don't have to try to like do the right things anymore because it's already been done, if that makes sense. But that's like for nonfiction. And then for like, I always love the Space Trilogy by C.S. Lewis. That's like, love that. That's my favorite fiction book of all time. But another book that I actually read it's called The Door on Half Bald Hill, I think is what it's called. That's really good. It's definitely like a somber book, but it's really good for like fantasy fans and more for like Tolkien type, C.S. Lewis type stuff. But that book's really good, but it's hard to talk about the plot without spoiling it because it's definitely more of like a character driven. It's not as much plot driven. You know what I mean? But yeah, I would say that for sure.
Okay, yeah, and so you bring up Tolkien or not Tolkien? Wow, I'm about to ask you the same question again, but according to you put in your Instagram description, you wish to be Captain Picard. What, like, why? You just a big Star Trek fan, or
Oh man, so I actually didn't get into Star Trek till like last year, believe it or not. But I started watching the Next Generation, and dude, like Picard is just the man. Like Captain Picard is just the dude. Like he's never worried. He's just like he can just handle his situation. Like he's just. I was like, dude, I like wish I was Captain Picard. Like,
yeah, he's very different from Captain Kirk, who's very reactionary, very hands-on. You got Picard, who is very intellectual. He handled it like he'd get hands-on, but he also knew when to take a step back and let he trusted his officers uh,
yes.
to get what was done. Which
And he was like confident. Like he was never like shaken. You know what I mean? Like he was very like I guess stoic. It would be kind of the right word, I guess.
yeah,
But like like and like you said, like he would like ask for advice, like even though he's the captain, but he would trust his officers and stuff. I don't know. I'm a huge geek, but like Captain Picard's just the dude. Like he's the guy. And Patrick Stewart also is amazing. So that always helps.
did you watch the Picard show, or were you just like, I'm not wasting my money on getting one streaming service for one show?
No, I haven't finished Next Generation yet. I still got like 2 or 3 seasons left, I think. So like I'm gonna wait to watch Picard until after I
Okay,
get all there.
I was gonna say another show to look out for. It has a lot of Star Trek actors in it. Is Gargoyles?
Yes. Yeah, like the classic cartoon.
Yeah, I was gonna say example
Yeah.
by Riker, and I think Data played a character in it. I think there is a bunch
Oh,
of
seriously?
yeah.
Oh, dude. Well, I know Keith David is Goliath, right?
Keith Davis Goliath.
And Keith David is the man. Like that dude is the guy. But no, I remember I used to watch that when I was a kid all the time. Oh, dude, Gargoyles. I tried to get my nephews to watch it, and they were not for it. And I was like, "Are you kidding me, dude?" Like I was like, "How do you not like this?" I was like, "This is dope. This is my childhood."
It was weird. It was ahead of its time, and like the Greg Wiseman, who worked on Gargoyles, like anything he works on, I feel sorry for it. It gets canceled after like 2 seasons.
Really?
So he did Gargoyles, and then he did Spectacular Spider-Man. He did Young Justice, which is getting brought back. Season 4 is going on right now.
Okay.
On DC Universe or HBO Max. So I don't know. Like it feels like they're just ahead of the time sometimes.
Yeah. Well, that's crazy because all those shows that got canceled are known as like classics. Like they're all like Young Justice was like beloved, and I know they brought it back. But I remember when they canceled it, everyone was like upset about it. And then same like Gargoyles, like dude, like Gargoyles is still super popular like to this day. Like I mean, there was a statue of Goliath at Target I almost bought, but I was like I can't afford that. But but I was like, dude, that'd be dope to have though.
Yeah, like it's interesting, but I don't know. I don't know if I have any more questions. Thought I had more, but I guess I could ask. So you've been mentioning Pastor Bob. What was that like working with him on, Crimson Six and any other projects?
Yeah, so Bob is like he's the dude. Like he's one of the coolest guys I've ever met. So like and I still work with him. Like I do a lot of like the graphics for Sanctuary and for all of that fun stuff. Like if they do like coffee mugs and like t-shirts and stuff. So it's really fun because he gives me a lot of freedom. So he'll be like, dude, I'm thinking here's what I'm thinking, but I just want you to I want to see what you come up with. Like he's like very that type of like philosophy. So it's definitely really fun working with him. And it was fun on the Crimson Six because he didn't really help me write it, but he like I would send him when I was finished, I sent him the script and he like read over it. And also too, like there were some things that he caught that he was like, oh, maybe you should change that, make sure it doesn't get, too crazy and stuff. But he gave me the idea for it. And then I remember one thing that he said as a joke, but he was like, well, and dude, the villain has to be a pop star. And so I remember when he told me that he was joking about it, but I was like, I'm gonna go for it, dude. So then so that's why you have Declan in the Crimson Six because it came off of a joke from Bob. But no, I love Bob. He's the most generous, like friendly, kind dude I've ever met. So it's always fun working with him, and I'm glad that I still get to work with him. And I sent him the script for the second book like last year when I finished it, and he really enjoyed it, and like he's very encouraging and stuff. So he's the best. Long answer, but yeah, he's the guy.
So yeah, I'm out of questions, and I don't know how much time before the Zoom call like times out.
Oh, okay.
So I know after 45 minutes, and I don't have a timer. I don't know why that's not a thing. That really should be a thing.
Yeah, no kidding.
If anyone from Zoom's watching, but that's my critique.
Take note, people.
Yeah, I don't know why that's not a thing, and I'm not gonna fork over the $15 for a business thing. I'm not doing that. But
yeah,
use Zoom at this point. So, do you have any other projects you're working on besides book 2, or is it just that your focus?
That's kind of my focus. I mean, obviously I have like the stuff I do for work, but that's just like illustration and like web design type stuff. But I am working on the second book. I'm also already thinking about writing the third book to have it ready as soon as the second one's done. And I'm also trying to think of like offshoots to do and stuff. So, but that's more of just kind of like brainstorm land, you know what I mean? But yeah, that's what I've got. That's what I've got working, brewing, stewing, you know what I mean? But also, did you turn 21 recently? Either today or yesterday?
Yesterday, yeah.
Dude, happy birthday. How's it feel?
Yeah, it's strange. So
yeah,
everyone was like, how does it feel like being old? Because I've like just going to Baptist high school, it was like I had a couple friends that were like graduated a couple years before I did, and then a couple that have graduated graduate after I did. So like weird group. So I have a couple friends that are a little younger than I am. So they're just like, what's it like? I'm like, it's not different at all.
pretty much the same.
Is you're 21, now you have no excuse for your coworkers why you can't go out and drink with them. That's legit the only other thing. So that's only one I've got, unless there's like others. But yeah.
Well, especially coming from a Baptist high school, you probably got a lot of people who are like, "So you turned 21, huh? You doing anything?"
Yeah, not a lot of people knew I went to Baptist high school. I didn't keep it on the down low. It just never came up in conversation. But I just
Yeah.
said to a private school because where I live, a lot of people don't like the school.
Oh,
I don't know all the reasons. I know just some people just don't like religion. It's weird. Where I live, we have a bunch of churches here, but there's a lot of people that don't like religion. It's really weird. So
okay. Where do you live at?
I'm gonna say I live in Indiana. I live near Illinois. I'm gonna leave it at that. But
Gotcha.
it's strange. This town, it's like the strangest town. Like there's a bar everywhere. There's also churches everywhere. Like mostly if there's a church, there's usually a bar down the street. It's the weird.
Okay.
It's the weirdest thing. This town. It's odd. Like
Okay.
it's the strangest thing. It's gotten better. A lot of like they've switched a lot of stuff around, but it's just strange. But
Yeah,
it's gonna get worse. I guess we're getting a casino here. So
dude. All right. All right.
it's great. Just what I want to drive by the casino on my way to work. That's just what I want to mess with. Because it's right on my way to work. Like right where
Oh, dude. Oh, you got to deal with traffic bad, man.
oh yeah. Luckily I have another route planned out that I could take, but that also might be worse. I don't know yet. I haven't tested it, but
Dude, you got to love it.
the town's in a weird loop.
Oh, okay.
So like you take one street and then get onto the other side, and so it's like in a weird loop. So like usually that's how everyone takes it. If there's one point's closed off, they'll take the other point. So sometimes you're just defeated. So, but yeah, I don't know. It's
Fun
strange.
stuff.
Great. But yeah, I really appreciate you taking your time to talk to me. I know we've been trying to get this going for a couple
Yeah,
weeks.
dude. Yeah, my bad. I kind of went dark because I was working I got a part-time job at Lowe's in September just to get some extra money, and then it quickly turned into not a part-time job, and I was like, dude, I can't do this. So like, so yeah, I didn't because we planned for like a while ago, and then I just completely ghosted you on accident. But
Okay.
now I'm glad we were able to connect.
I felt bad too because I've had like family stuff going on, and then school stuff was going on, and then just focusing on other video projects. It was just like so.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you having me on, dude. Like, I appreciate you taking the time, and like, I'm always down to chat
Oh,
if you ever, even if it's not about the book and stuff. And then also too, I'm working on a podcast with my friend Phil from Australia that's all about comic book stuff. So if you ever want to be a guest, let me know.
all
I'll
right.
bring you on.
Yeah, because I've been wanting to, I guess, get like groups of different creators that are like, I guess, similar age and like similar, like around the same stuff, but like also not from the same groups of content. That way to create like a weird group, I guess.
Yeah.
So I'm in contact with another guy. We're gonna see how that goes.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, whenever that's available, just hit me up whenever I'm available. So
Yeah, we'll do. Well, enjoy being 21. Enjoy that big milestone. And yeah.
yeah, but to any of the viewers that are here or listeners, I guess, I will put down Hayden's links down in the description for his book. I guess I'll link it to the website. I don't know how much that works with Amazon or to the website, because I know you can get off the Sanctuary website. I don't know how that all works, but I'll put one or the other links. I guess I'll put your Instagram link down there. Is there any other links besides those big two?
Those are the big two, like my own website, which is just haydencockrill.com. That's a good one. But other than that, yeah, I would do my Facebook, but Facebook sucks. So
I only to keep in contact with like older family. So
yeah, well, Facebook. Okay, so like mainly like the business side, the business page, because I have like the page for like my art, and it just sucks. Like it doesn't reach my followers. Like it doesn't reach the people. Like it, and because I want you to pay for boost, and it's like I'm not gonna do that. So it's at this point I'm just like I'm not gonna deal with it. You know what I mean?
I know that I hate it. I use it. I don't like using it, but it's there because some people find it. So more than Instagram,
The necessary evil.
and then Twitter is like nothing. So
I don't touch Twitter, dude. Twitter's toxic. Like, one, I just waste a lot of time because I just keep scrolling. But two, it's just like I'm always hearing, especially in the comic book community, I'm always hearing about people starting fights on Twitter, and it's like I don't want to be part of it.
I use it sometimes, but I haven't been on it lately, so I don't know. I know I got into a spat with a guy over something he said, but so I had to get off. I later went back and I'm like, hey, I was trying to mean this. I'm sorry it came across like this. I'm really sorry. So yeah, but yeah, I don't want to keep. I don't know what else you got going on today. So, but I really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, dude, I appreciate it as well. I had a good time talking.
Oh yeah, me too. So yeah, so see ya. See
ya, my dude.
Yep.
Because you know